Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our special panels and all of the audiences present here with us today. Welcome to the Career Forum, a glimpse to the 21st century workplace. Before we start our forum, there are some regulations that you need to follow in order for this event to run smoothly. First, audiences are requested to sing along to our national anthem, Negaraku and Putra Gemilang. Second, audiences are required to fill in the Google form provided in the live chat box in order to claim your faculty merit. The Google form will require you to submit a screenshot of your name and matrix number after you have commented them in the live chat box. Third, audiences are required to mute your mic throughout the event except during Q&A session. We beg you to not make any noise during the forum. Thank you for your cooperation. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our special panels and all of the audiences present here with us today. Welcome to the Career Forum, a glimpse to the 21st century workplace. It is a great day today to discuss this hot topic, and I am sure everyone would love to know about it as
Assalamualaikum
well.
and a very good morning to
We
our
really
special
appreciate
panels
you
and all
taking
of the
some time
audiences
off your
present
busy
here with us
schedules to
today.
join us today.
Welcome to the Career Forum, a glimpse to
Before
the
we start our
21st century
forum, there are
workplace.
some
It is
regulations
a great
that
day
you need to
today to
follow
discuss
in
this
order
hot
for this
topic,
event to
and
run
I am sure
smoothly.
everyone would love to know about it as
First,
well.
audiences are requested
We
to
really
sing along to
appreciate
our
you
national
taking some
anthem
time off your
Negaraku
busy
and
schedules
Putra
to join
Gemilang.
us today.
Second, audiences are
Before we
required
start
to
our
fill in
forum,
the Google
there are
form
some
provided in the
regulations
live
that
chat
you need to
box
follow
in order
in
to
order
claim
for
your
this
faculty
event to
merit.
run
The
smoothly.
Google form will require you to
First,
submit a screenshot
audiences are
of your
requested
name
to
and
sing
metric
along to our
number
national
after you have
anthem,
commented
Negaraku
them in
and
the live
Putra
chat
Gemilang.
box.
Second,
Third,
audiences are
audiences
required
are
to fill
required
in the
to
Google
mute your
form
mic
provided
throughout
in
the
the live
event
chat box
except
in
during
order to
Q&A
claim your
session.
faculty merit.
We beg you
The
to
Google
not
form
make
will
any
require
noise
you to
during the
submit a
forum.
screenshot of your name and metric number after you have commented them in the live chat
Yang
box.
berbahagia, Profesor Dr. Shuhaimi
Third,
Mustafa,
audiences
Dean
are
of
required to mute
Biotechnology
your
and
mic
Biomolecular
throughout the
Sciences
event
faculty,
except during Q&A
Yang
session.
berbahagia,
We beg
Associate
you to
Professor
not make
Dr.
any
Muhajir
noise
Hamid,
during the
Deputy
forum.
Dean for the Academic and Student Affairs of the Faculty of Biotechnology and
Yang
Biomolecular
berbahagia,
Sciences.
Profesor
Yang
Dr. Shuhaimi
berhormat,
Mustafa,
Dr. Rethina
Dean of
Gunaseelan from
Biotechnology and
International
Biomolecular
Medical
Sciences
Accident
Faculty.
Lead and Associate Medical
Yang
Affair
berbahagia,
Manager,
Associate Professor
AstraZeneca,
Dr.
as
Muhajir
industry
Hamid,
panel.
Deputy Dean for the
Yang
Academic and
berhormat,
Student Affairs
Dr.
of the
Irwan Hanish bin
Faculty of
Warsanah, Senior
Biotechnology
Lecturer
and
of
Biomolecular
Biotechnology
Sciences.
and Biomolecular
Yang
Sciences
berhormat,
faculty
Dr.
as
Rethina
academic
Gunaseelan
alumni,
from
as
International
academic
Medical
panel.
Accident Lead and Associate
Mr.
Medical
Muhammad
Affair
Luqman
Manager,
Hakim bin Zukefli,
AstraZeneca,
alumni
as
of
industry panel.
Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences
Yang
faculty,
berhormat
class of
Dr. Irwan
2020,
Hanish bin Warsanah,
President of
Senior
BioMIX
Lecturer of
1819, as
Biotechnology
alumni
and
panel.
Biomolecular Sciences Faculty as
Heads of the
academic
department
alumni.
and all
As
lecturers that
academic
take
panel,
part in this event.
Mr.
Lai
Muhammad
Fai
Luqman
Leong,
Hakim bin
Director of
Zulkifli,
BioMIX
alumni
Career
of
Forum, a
Biotechnology
glimpse to
and
the
Biomolecular
21st century
Sciences Faculty,
workplace.
class of
The Committee
2020,
of BioMIX
President
Career
of
Forum,
BioMIX
a glimpse to the
1819,
21st
as
century
alumni panel.
workplace, and all audiences here
Heads
today.
of the department and all lecturers that take
Welcome to
part
the
in this
BioMix Career
event.
Forum, a glimpse
Lai
to the
Fai Leong,
21st century
Director of
workplace.
BioMix Career
Today, we
Forum,
will be
a glimpse to
discussing
the
about the
21st
career path
century
for
workplace.
BioMix
The
students in this
Committee of
21st
BioMix
century.
Career Forum, a glimpse to the 21st century workplace, and all audiences here
Audiences
today.
are requested to sing and give respect
Welcome
to
to
the
the
national
BioMix Career
anthem
Forum, a
Negaraku
glimpse to
and
the
Putra
21st
Gemilang.
century workplace. Today, we will be discussing about the career path for BioMix students in this 21st century. Audiences are requested to sing and give respect to the national anthem Negaraku and Putra Gemilang.
Ladies and gentlemen, praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have been graced by the chance to gather in this momentous event. To ensure that our forum will go well and smoothly, we would like to invite Muhammad Hakimi Akil bin Muhammad Hussein to recite the dua. Ladies and gentlemen, praise to
Assalamualaikum
Allah subhanahu
warahmatullahi
wa ta'ala,
wabarakatuh.
we have been graced
Kitab
by the
Al-Fatihah.
chance to gather in
A'udzu
this
billahi
momentous event.
minasyaitonir
To
rajim.
ensure that our forum will go
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
well and smoothly,
Alhamdulillahi
we
rabbil
would like to
alamin.
invite
Arrahmanir
Muhammad
rahim.
Hakimi
Maliki
Akil
yaumiddin.
bin Muhammad Hussein
Iyyaka
to
na'budu wa
recite the
iyyaka
dua.
nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal
Ladies and
mustaqim.
gentlemen,
Siratal
praise to Allah
ladzina an'amta
subhanahu wa
'alaihim
ta'ala,
ghairil
we have
maghdubi
been
'alaihim
graced by the
waladdallin.
chance to
Amin.
gather in this momentous event. To
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
ensure that our forum will
Alhamdulillahi
go
rabbil
well and
alamin.
smoothly,
Wassalatu
we would
wassalamu
like to
ala
invite
ashrafil anbiya wal
Muhammad
mursalin
Hakimi
wa
Akil
ala
bin
alihi wa
Muhammad
sahbihi
Hussein
ajma'in.
to recite the dua.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, praise be to Allah, Lord of the world. Let your blessing and your peace be on your servant and your messenger Muhammad and on his family and his companions. Allahumma ya Allah, on this glorious morning, in conjunction with the opening ceremony of BioMIX Career Forum, a glimpse to the 21st century workplace, we uphold our hands to pray gratefully to thank on your infinite favors to us till we can live in peace and harmony to perform our task as your servant. O Allah, we ask for your blessing to make this event in success. Allahumma ya Hayyu ya Qayyum ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram. You are the mercy of the mercies, and you are the Lord of the universe. Give us mercy from your presence, and shape for us the right conduct for our path. We ask you for knowledge which is beneficial, and sustenance which is good, and deeds which are acceptable. O Allah, help us to remember you, to thank you, and to worship you in the best of manners. Forgive us, have mercy upon us, guide us, give us health, and grant us sustenance. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي
Amin, amin
الآخرة
ya rabbal
حسنة
alamin.
وقنا عذاب النار
Thank you,
وصلى الله على سيدنا
Muhammad
وعلى
Hakimi
آله
Akil
وصحبه
bin
وسلم
Muhammad Hussein
سبحان
for the
ربك
dua
رب العزة
recitation.
عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين
Ladies
والحمد
and
لله رب
gentlemen,
العالمين.
the ceremony full of determination would like to welcome the Dean of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences Faculty, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Shaimi Mustafa, to give some opening speech and remarks. Please welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony full of determination would like to welcome the Dean of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences Faculty, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Shaimi Mustafa, to give some opening speech and remarks.
Thank you,
Please welcome.
Nurul Hidayah, our MC today.
Ladies and
Can you all
gentlemen,
hear me?
the ceremony full of determination Yes, we can. would like to
Yes.
welcome the Dean of
Okay,
Biotechnology and
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Biomolecular Sciences Faculty,
Assalamualaikum
Yang
warahmatullahi
Berbahagia
ta'ala
Professor
wabarakatuh,
Dr.
and a
Shaimi
very good
Mustafa,
morning.
to give some opening speech and
Welcome to
remarks.
this
Please welcome.
forum entitled A Glimpse to the 21st Century Workplace.
Yes, we
Yang
can.
berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Muhajir Hamid, Deputy Dean for Academic and Student Affairs. Yang berhormat Dr. Rethina Gunaseelan, International Medical Excellence Lead and Associate Medical Affairs Managers at AstraZeneca as our industry panel today. Yang berhormat Dr. Irwan Hanish bin Warsanah, Senior Lecturer of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Science Faculty of our faculty panel, yeah. And Mr. Muhammad Luqman Hakim bin Zukefli, Alumni UPM Class 2020, President of BioMIX as our alumni panel. Head of the department and all the lecturers that join us in this event. Mr. Lai Tai Leong, Project Director of BioMIX Career Forum, A Glimpse to the 21st Century Workplace. Committee of BioMIX Career Forums, A Glimpse to the 21st Century Workplace. And all the beloved students of year 3 and 4 that participated in this event. Alhamdulillah, praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the chance to meet and gain important and useful knowledge from our forum today, inshallah. First of all, I would like to congratulate all who invested their time and effort in this forum, especially our panels, project manager of this forum, and all of the committee that is involved in ensuring the event runs well. I believe you all would have been burning the night oil to ensure the success of this forum. Apart from that, not to forget to thank our panel who willingly have agreed to join us today to enlighten our beloved students on knowledge that they lack of earning from the syllabus. With us today, we have our panels who are believed to have boundless knowledge, also not to forget possessing unmeasurable amounts of experience. I therefore believe that the panels have much to share and the students are open to all sorts of perspective by the end of the forum. So students, hope you all have good listening skill as well as abilities to jot down important messages. Coming to the purpose of our event today, this forum is targeted to third and fourth year students who would be entering another phase of life shortly. I bet all students have been winding up with their own mind regarding the questions what is going to happen after university, right? Well, grab your chance, students, as our panels have significant answers that will clear all your doubt about the future career. Moreover, students could also grab a lot of important life lessons from experiences shared by our panels. I really believe that there would be a lot all you could relate to as our wise panels are here today, virtually. As for the organizing committee, I hope all of you gain enough experience and learn how to properly organize and manage an event which even more challenging doing it virtually than conventionally. Despite all that, all of you have succeeded in organizing this event without all your effort going into vain. And I hope that this forum would be beneficial and the purpose would be achieved by the end of the program. With Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially declare this forum open. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Syahimi Mustafa, the Dean of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences Faculty, for the wonderful speech. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us warmly invite Lai Tai Leong, Director of BioMIX Career Forum,
Thank you,
a
Yang
glimpse to the
Berbahagia
21st
Professor
century
Dr.
workplace,
Syahimi
to give
Mustafa,
some
the
speech.
Dean of
Please
Biotechnology
welcome.
and Biomolecular Sciences Faculty,
Thank you,
for the
Nurul
wonderful
Hidayah, our
speech.
MCs for today's forum. A
Now,
very good
ladies and
morning to all
gentlemen,
the participants, and
let
I
us
would like
warmly
to say
invite
thank you,
Lai Tai
especially
Leong,
to Young
Director of
Berbahagia,
BioMIX
Professor
Career
Dr.
Forum, a
Suhaimi
glimpse to
Mustafa,
the 21st
Dean
century
of the
workplace,
Faculties of
to give some
Biotechnologies and
speech.
Biomolecular
Please
Sciences.
welcome.
Young Berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Muhajiz Hamid, Deputy Dean for the Academic and Student Affairs of the Faculties of Biotechnologies and Biomolecular Sciences. Young Muhamad Dr. Rethina Gunaseelan, the International Medical Excellence Lead and Associate Medical Affairs Managers from AstraZeneca as Industry Panel. Young Muhamad Dr. Irwan Hanish bin Warsanah, Senior Lecturers of the Faculties of Biotechnologies and Biomolecular Sciences as Academic Panel. Mr. Muhammad Luqman Hakim bin Zukefli, Alumni of the Faculties of Biotechnologies and Biomolecular Sciences, from the class of 2020s, the presidents of BioMIX from 2018 to 2019 as our alumni panels, heads of the department and all the lecturers that take part in this event, and all the audiences here today. It is my great honors and pleasures to welcome all of you to the BioMIX Career Forum, a glimpse to the 21st century workplace. Thank you so much for investing your time with us on this Saturday morning. If you are a first year student or a second year student joining us here now, kudos to you. You have made the right decision to start early. I suppose it is never too early to plan your career just yet. If you are a third year or a fourth year student, this platform is one of the perfect spots for you to experience and prepare yourself mentally before you start rocking the working world. Graham Brown once said, life is about choices. Sometimes we regret, some we are proud of, some will haunt us. The message? We are what we chose to be. It is just a matter of months or years before most of us here go for internships. It is during this time we'll be able to gain and apply the knowledge into practice. Whichever roles or sectors we get into, the expectation is always high, especially for fresh graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, as a student, you need to make good planning for your future. Nowadays, it is a must for everyone to have various soft skills that make us better than anyone else. It is because we need to compete with other people, and in order for us to be chosen, we should have something special as a fresh graduate. The fresh graduates also need to perform well in academics as it is a criterion that every company is looking for. Honestly, I'm really grateful for all of the effort, especially for my assistant program directors and committees involved to make this forum successful today. This career forum, a glimpse to the 21st century's workplace, is held for the first time to ensure that all fresh graduates can gain a lot of knowledge about the challenges at the workplace and whatever soft skills that a fresh graduate should have. Thinking of pursuing a career in academics because of passions for teachings? What are job prospects in pursuing an academic career? How many obstacles will you be encountering? These are some thoughts that will definitely bring you to pause. Our goal today is that whatever role you are hoping for in the industry, you will come away with something, a new idea, a fresh perspective, a new strategies that you can apply to stand out from the rest. Our panels today definitely will give you some insight into how we need to prepare ourselves before entering the 21st century workplace. And I hope all of you will use the opportunity given and learn something. With that said, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lai Tai Leong, for the speech. Now, without further ado, I am inviting the moderator for today's forum, Ms. Izzatun Nisa binti Saharuddin, to continue our program today.
Thank you very much to our MC. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Izatunisa, a first-year student of Bachelor of Science in Microbiology, your moderator for today's forum. Before we begin our first slot of today's forum, let me give a short brief of our topic for today. As you all know, the COVID-19 outbreak has affected the lives of the community, especially in terms of employment. So here, we will explore the post-COVID-19 career world, especially in the field of science. Before that, allow me to introduce our great panels for today. The first panel for today is Dr. Rethina Gunaseelan, an International Medical Excellence Lead and Associate Medical Affairs Manager from AstraZeneca, a research-based biopharmaceutical company in Malaysia, as our industry panel. Next, we have our beloved senior lecturer, Dr. Irwan Hanish bin Warsanah, as our lecturer panel. And finally, we have Mr. Luqman Hakim, an alumni from FBSB, as alumni panel. Without delaying it any further, I am aiming the first question to our panel from the industry field. Dr. Rethina, throughout your experience in this industry, what are the differences that you find between public university graduates and other graduates? And what does the industry expect from fresh graduates? I am aiming the first question to our panel from the industry field.
Thank you, Ezatun. Thank you so much. I'm just curious. Shall I start now or?
Yes, you may start now.
Right. Okay. So, a very good morning, selamat pagi, salam sejahtera to everyone who has dialed in this morning. There are 57 of you dialed in, so congratulations, first and foremost, to wake up on a Saturday morning to join us for a very, very interesting topic. But before that, I would like to honor the people who's actually behind this whole forum. First and foremost, thank you so much, Ezatun, our first year student, right, in UPM? Is that right? Okay, good choice to become the moderator for this forum. Secondly, Professor Dr. Shuhaini, Associate Professor Dr. Muhajir, and not forgetting Mr. Lai, who actually approached me to join this forum today, and my fellow panelist who's going to join. And I would like to But my request for you is this session is going to be interactive. So I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't wish to unmute, you can actually put your answers on the chat box. Is that okay? All right. So in the chat box, before I move on, I have a question for all of you. How do you feel today? One word, describe how you feel today, your emotions. This session is going to be interactive. Only so I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't wish to unmute, you don't have to actually put your answers on the chat box. Is that okay? All right. So in the chat box, before I move on, I have a question for all of you. How do you feel today? Curious, good, excited, happy, it's great. This session is going to be interactive. Only I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't wish to unmute, you don't have to actually put your answers on the chat box. Is that okay?
Start off your morning.
All right.
Not bad.
So in the chat box,
I think I have to do a very good job because normally I feels not bad.
How do you feel
Okay.
today? Curious, good, excited, happy, thank you everyone. So I know that only I'm going to ask questions. If you don't wish to unmute, you don't have to actually put your answers on the chat box. Is that okay?
Write down the important
All right.
not bad.
So because in the chat box,
I have to do a very good job because normally I feels not bad.
Okay, moving on. Good, excited, happy, thank you everyone. So I know that only I'm going to ask questions. If you don't wish to unmute, you don't have to actually put your answers on the chat box. Is that okay?
Write down the important
All right.
not bad.
Because in the chat box,
my career aspects because normally I feels not bad.
Okay, moving on.
Now,
Okay, moving on. All right. If you look at all the you have
if you look at the left-hand side, preparing job ready, future graduates. If you look at the right-hand side, producing industry-ready graduates. If you look at the bottom by Sun, New Straits Times, they're all talking about industry-ready graduates, right? And one of the huge reasons why this forum is even conducted. Next, please. Okay, my question to you: why? Why you are seeing all these newspaper articles? This clips are from 2019 and 2020. I didn't go very far to take the newspaper articles. It's very recent, 2019 and 2020. So why are we seeing all these articles? Why do you all think that it keeps popping up? Probably there are more in other newspaper articles that I'm not showing you. But why? Give me some something on the chat, guys. There are 59 of you with me today. So I want to hear from you. Why do you think this topic is so crucial? Everyone is talking about it. Preparing the future graduates for jobs in future. Let me see. What do you all think? Why do you think this is very prominent? Why everyone is talking about it? Preparation is important to adapt. Perfect. There's a very good answer. Anyone else? Everyone is talking about it. Preparing the future graduates. Why do you think everyone is talking about this topic? Why is it important for you, in fact? Why? Why do you think this is very prominent? Why everyone is talking about it? Preparation is important. I am not seeing any other response. Do you think you want my answer? Why? Anyone else? Oh, okay. There are some. To produce world-class employers. Oh my God, I'm so impressed with that answer. Okay, Nur Fatia is saying, come on, you guys. She's just checking whether all of you are awake or not. Okay, to remind graduates to prepare themselves for the competitive working industry. Perfect, on point. We are young generation. Okay, I will consider myself young as well. Okay, fine. All right, produce effective workers. Correct. Okay, next slide. Thank you everyone who actually wrote on the chat. The reason why you actually see this coming on forth very, very often is because if you look at the left-hand side of the slide, in Malaysia, youth employment has increasingly been recognized as a pressing issue. That is simply because despite all the technological change and then economic growth and so on and so forth, there are still huge number of people who are not employed. And youth employment, especially for longer duration, that means you may not have a job for 1 or 2 years, in fact, can actually give negative impact on your lifetime income. and also your well-being. Well-being means it could be mental health, physical health, and even emotional health. And this chart, this very nice chart you're seeing on the slide, right? It has, I actually picked this up from an article from 2020 recently, and it shows that unemployment among degree holders is relatively high and has increased. If you look at the bar chart in the light blue color is 2018 and the dots are 2008. Just focus towards the right hand side of the slide for diploma and degree holders. The bar chart is higher than the dot, which means in 2018, the recent years, the unemployment rate among degree holders are higher compared to those in 2008. So this is 2018, right? What do you think of 2020? Especially now that we are hit by COVID-19. Okay, that is a question for you to think. No need to answer in the chat. Okay? All right. Now we have talked about unemployment. Now I want to tell you why is this actually a very, very critical topic. Next slide, please. What do you think of 2020? The top reasons for fresh grad unemployment. I want you all to focus on this because I think this is one of the very good sources that I've got from Google, and this especially in Malaysia, and this survey has been done in 2018. One of the top reasons of unemployment for fresh graduates here, so we are not talking only about biotechnology or medicine or social sciences or applied sciences. I'm talking about in general. There are very huge number of people who think that there's a skills mismatch. Contohnya, okay, education institutions, not only UPM, but public universities or even private universities, we always emphasize on academic and professional qualification, which is not wrong. But the nature, which is at the workplace out there, the employers prioritize soft skills and work experience. So you may ask me, right? Okay, lah, I've just finished my graduation. How can they ask for work experience? Okay, work experience not necessarily that you have to be attached to a huge organization working part-time, whatever, but it could also include your work experience in other areas. Like, for example, if you're attached to a non-profitable organization, or you have taken an internship and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things that the employers are looking for. If you look at the bottom, job search and recruitment mismatch. We normally, right after SPM, this is what I did maybe a few years ago. Right after SPM, we have the education fair in Malaysia. So, in Mid Valley, it's very famous. All of us tend to go for the education fair. What we do is, job seekers look for jobs through job fairs and public employment services. But we don't know, or we may not know, that the employers out there, they actually use online ads and informal networks to recruit people. They hire recruitment firms to recruit people. So how do you actually get there to that platform where these recruiters look out for you? Another question. If you look at the right, the poster on your left, low take-up rate for STEM. What is STEM? So STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Of course, we cannot talk about arts now, but there are the number of people who's actually doing this STEM courses are also declining. So that's one of the reasons. And then low participation in TVET. So what is TVET? Technical and vocational education and training. Not 100% necessary for you guys, so we can skip that. And then lack of entrepreneurship skills. Okay, so what we want to talk about entrepreneurship skills. Graduates are unaware of the importance of entrepreneurship skills, which are important whether for career advancement or to start a business. So normally for biotech students, when you graduate, not all of them will start a business, but then the entrepreneurship skills actually helps when you move on to careers in, for example, pharmaceutical industry, or I would say molecular diagnostic industry or something like that. Not literally research lah. Okay, right hand side of the slide. Now you tell me, which color do you belong to? The unemployment fresh grads by field of studies, the percentage of breakdown. If you look at the gray, that is the biggest, right? That's the biggest chunk, 35%. Social sciences, business, law. And then where else do you belong to? Do you think you belong to the yellow one? Sciences, mathematics, and computing? If yes, then you look at the yellow bar, it's 11.3%. And some of you may want to consider health and welfare, which is the blue. which is 6.3%. So any industry that you may want to consider in the future could lie in that three colors, which is the gray, the yellow, and also the blue. But I think what is more worrying is actually the social sciences part, right? So this is actually a very good survey to actually show us what is there waiting for us in 2021. Let's not talk about 2020 anymore. 2021. Okay, so now we have talked about why the top reasons for fresh grad unemployment. Let's look at the next one. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, we have talked about why the fresh graduates are not being not being employed for several reasons. So if we actually go and ask employers, right, what would be your expectations? Future graduates, are you actually industry ready? My question for probably the third year, fourth year students, I'm not sure whether there are fifth year students, probably that's for medicine, but third and fourth year students, let me ask you these questions. Are you actually industry ready? Let me trigger your confidence and ask you this question. Are you actually industry ready? Just by looking at the few points that I presented earlier, are you actually industry ready? Can I have a few comments on the chat section? Let me ask you these questions. Whether are you industry ready? And the industry that I'm talking about, it could be biotechnology, it could be social science, it could be applied sciences, it could be regulatory, it could be research, anything. But my question, are you industry ready? There's 58 of y'all with me in the chat. I'm not expecting half, but probably a small percentage. I want to know, are y'all industry ready? It could be applied sciences, it could be regulatory, it could be research. Probably it's the Google Meet is lagging, I'm not sure. But I'm looking forward for some answers. Not so ready. No. No. Okay. There's only 3 people telling me that they are not so ready. No. Okay. That's very honest. No. No with emoji. Okay. No. No, 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 no. Okay. Not so ready. I'm waiting to see maybe. Belum lagi lah. Okay. Or might be, or potentially yes. No. Okay. Okay, so all of you are very honest lah. No. Wow, lie. No. Okay, lie. Probably I need to bring you out for coffee. So lie is the only one person who is industry ready. Okay, I'm not going to ask lie why, but I want to ask those of you who answered no why. All of you are very honest lah. Why do you say no? Wow, lie. No. Okay, lie. So this is a more difficult question, right? I wish you can unmute yourself. If anyone is daring enough to unmute, to speak some words, I'm more than happy to hear you out. But if you don't wish to, you can just type, why are you not industry ready? And this question is actually focused for the fourth year students, final year students. I wish you can unmute yourself. Why do you think you're not industry ready? To speak some words, because I'm thinking that the fact you probably are planning to sit for your final exams. Okay, kind of lack of a lot of skills, especially with this online learning, which is true. I think probably Nurul Hidayah, I like your answers, and you are resonating to a lot of people who's probably not typing, but this is 100% true. Lack of a lot of skills, especially with this online learning. Perfect. Okay. The most important thing here, right? The reason why I'm asking you all this question is for you to identify what is missing there. It's not to say that, yes, you're not ready. For you to know why you're not ready. So lack of skills, yes. Online learning could be one of it. Do you think that there's a lot of lack of competency in terms of technology? Do you think so? Anyone in the chat? Now I'm having curiosity whether you know how to use the chat button or not. You see there's a cute chat button at the top, I think, of the Google Meet. Click there and you can tell me why. What sort of skills do you think that you're probably lacking besides online learning? Is technology one of it? You see Do you think it's technology? Soft skills. Okay. We're going to talk about soft skills in a moment. Yes, so technology is probably one of the lacking skills, right? Yes, okay, that's true. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. Do you think it's technology? Next slide, please. I will tell you that what are the traits that the employers are actually looking for right now. Look at the left-hand side of the slide. Problem-solving skills, communication skills, ability to work independently, willingness to learn, and ability to work under pressure. Okay. Now, to expect this from a fresh graduate is not very fair. Betul tak? Not everyone, you learn about problem solving skills in the university, or communication skill is something very tricky, but that too may not be very extensive learned in your university or college life. Ability to work independently. How would you even know before you start your first job? Willingness to learn, ability to work under pressure. I'm repeating all that because I'm going to ask you all back that question later. If we look at the top 5 digital skills here, so this survey, despite talking about many other skills, they only focus on these two, the 5 traits and also digital skills. If you look at digital skills, digital marketing, software and application development, e-commerce, big data, database management. So looking at this, now again, all of you who answered no just now, do you think you are at least 50% equipped with these traits that you see on the slide? 50% sahaja. I can see Nur Haida is already like typing. She's preparing to say yes or no. See, I got the answer already. No. Okay, 40%. Okay, that's good lah. 40%. Very confident. 30% only from Vidya. Anybody else? At least 50%? Anyone can say that you are perhaps there 50% with this 5 traits and 5 digital skills. Only got 1 point from all of those. Okay, yes. Wow, Angeline, good. Clap for you, 50%. Okay, the reason why I said 50%, yeah, so that means, do you know why you actually said yes, Angeline? Because you are actually confident to say that in your life of learning, be it sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah, and then diploma, degree, or whatever, you have probably acquired this not only from your education. Probably you have done more beyond your education for you to get all these traits and all this experience. That is why probably you have said 50%. We will come to that later. Okay, and for those who answer 30%, 40%, it's completely fine. Life is all about learning, and at this age you are still learning and you learn more, so it's completely fine. Move on to the next slide, please. Okay, now we come to the reality. Now this is the biggest topic that I want to emphasize, because I think from one of those things that Lai and I discussed is that we want to probably have changes of opinions in terms of how do you think the public graduates and the private uni graduates are doing out there, and what sort of challenges they're actually facing in terms of joining the industry for employment. Okay, very straightforward. There are 4 major things that we want to discuss here, right? Medium of communication or instruction, academia, trained faculty, soft skills, and exposure to learning culture. If you go to Google, if you click there, the differences between public university graduates and private university graduates, you will be very surprised if I tell you that public university graduates stand more than 50% or higher chances from the private university graduates to be employed in Malaysia. So I'm not saying that, wow, okay, so everyone in UPM confirm you'll get a job in the industry if you go out. No, that's not my point, right? My point is you stand higher chances because there are many reasons. Let's not talk about that reason. We are going to talk about the reason why you may not land a job. That is why I'm here today, right? Okay. So there was a study in 2009, right? It showed that employers, they were more satisfied with foreign graduates or private um, university graduates from several aspects. Okay, these are all very generic competency, very generic. Okay, one of those things is actually communication skills. They feel that for foreign graduates or probably private university graduates have better communication skills, especially the command of the use of English language. That was one. Secondly, they felt that the confidence and the positive self-image by the foreign graduates or private university graduates probably a little bit more. And then some of other things were also about leadership skills, problem solving skills, creative and innovative skills, and lastly, flexibility and adaptability. What is flexibility and adaptability? That means if there is a change of environment, very fast you can adapt. Adaptasi yang sangat tinggi. That's what I say it very simply. So all this, they found that the foreign graduates and the private graduates are able to deliver more, right? But that is a study in 2009. Now it's already 2020. Things might have changed, right? And what I can tell you all for sure is that even though you're coming from a public university, it doesn't put you in any less situation for you to gain a job in the industry when you compare yourself with a person from the private or foreign universities. So it's it's a very tricky situation, because if I ask you, for example, a public university, you compare with a private university, right? Public university are very well known internationally. So I would say international presence are much higher compared to private universities, right? And also public university, the quality of the faculty are higher, because the majors that you have, the majors for social sciences, applied sciences, or whatsoever, is actually more compared to private universities. Private universities, they have very minimum or straightforward subjects. So the majors are more in public. And then the research reputation. How many private universities have actually very high research reputations? They may not. So public universities have more. And then the capable lecturers. Lecturers spend very long time in public universities. They may not have too many long-standing lecturers in private. So I'm just giving you a very I would say short snippets of the qualifications and also the differences between public and private universities. But ultimately, everything boils down to your individual competence. It doesn't really matter whether you are from a public university or private university. This is from my personal experience here. So, and one more important thing, a lot of time, this is reflected in the CV, resume, when you go for job. They will see, wow, this one scholarship student, King Scholar, University Scholar, UPM Scholar, Mara, JPA, whichever, right? And not all these scholarship students actually end up in the private institution. They actually end up in the public institutions. So I want to assure all of you that you are at the right path. There's nothing greater or probably lower in terms of your qualification compared to a private university or a foreign graduate. However, how would you actually improve your competency level? That is my question, and that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, can I go to the next slide? This is my last slide. So we're going to focus a little bit more here because I think this is the crucial part for all of you. And you can write down your questions. You can ask me your questions in relation to this later. How to boost your employability as a fresh graduate? If you look at the survey that I've been showing you from just now, there's only two things that they are focusing on. Number one, your soft skills. Just now, I think Hidayah, right? You mentioned about soft skills. I can't remember, sorry. And then there's the second one, career capital. Okay,
Soft skills. How many of you on the line thinks that you have very good communication skills? Very good means okay lah. I'll give you percentage lah. 80%. How many do you? How many of you here you think your communication skills are very good? I give you a rate of 80%. How many of you? Very good is 80%. Good is 50%. So and so probably 30-40% lah. I will never trust all of you if you say you don't have communication skills, yeah? Then tak boleh masuk university, confirm. So you tell me, how many of you are very good? I give you a rate of 80%. How many of you? Lie is probably going to tell me 80%. Good is 50%. Okay, 70% maybe. Yamini, 50%. Sufia, 50. 50, 50, 50, 50. Okay? All right? I think 70%. 65. Walao. Okay. When someone answer me, 65, 63, 64, I think this person is a very meticulous person, very research evidence based. Probably they have done a survey on their own. Okay, 60, 50. Nobody gave me 80, huh? Okay, never mind. All right. The reason why I asked you all that is because, okay, this is very important, guys, because when you graduate and actually attend your first interview, most questions will actually rhyme around your soft skills, your communication skills. So the first question normally employers will ask you, okay, I already saw your resume, Rethina. Tell me about yourself. Have you heard of this a lot of times? They will say, right, tell me about yourself, right? That is the very first fundamental question to actually see how good is your communication skills. Whether you can talk non-stop. If you let me talk, I can talk non-stop. That's me, right? That's my personality. But some of you could be introvert, like very reserved. Hey, I don't like to talk a lot. I like to listen a lot. There are people like that. Nothing wrong, because their personality is different, right? But they could have very high command in their education and academic skills. Nothing wrong. But when you actually go into your workplace, I mean the industry that you want to work on, very, very essentially, you must have the communication skills, basic communication skills, 50% good enough to start off. Because I will never tell in this whole world that there are a person who can communicate 100% efficiently. There's no such thing like that, because there's nobody who's perfect, right? So 80% is considered very good. Now, when you all mention 50%, I think very good. You know how to rate yourself. You have to work on another 50% throughout the rest of your life. Now, how do you actually boost that? How do you actually improve your communication, problem solving, and teamwork skills? Okay, what you could do when you are in the university, be actively participating in extracurricular activities. Now, I think a lot of you are doing this. I don't want to talk about that. But when I say extracurricular activities, let me tell you something. Make the right choices. Some of you, right? Some of you, or probably I've seen some of my friends, what they do is, I think I like to run, but then they join Lonta Bluru. I don't know why, right? So your expectations of yourself is completely contradicting with what you want to do. Maybe because your friends are there. Maybe because you think, oh, the Lonta Peluru team, very king. I want to join their team. No. Understand your strength, what you can deliver, and join the right extracurricular activities. Do you know why? If you join the right extracurricular activities, when you love doing, when you have the strength, you will do million times better. So choose the right extracurricular activities for yourself. Second, network and take on leadership roles in university. For example, our fellow panelists here, and also Lai, Izzatun, and our MC earlier, Hidayah. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry, didn't pick up your names, but you see, these are all leadership roles. Just because Izzatun is a first year a student, it doesn't mean that, oh alamak, diorang panggil I sudah buat kerja MC pula hari ni, kena tangkap pula. Instead of thinking like that, every single role that you pick up, even though you are an MC, you are a moderator, you are actually stepping up to show that you can take up a role. That is what I call leadership roles. Be very daring to take up this kind of leadership roles when you are in the university. That is when you'll feel very comfortable when you move out to the workplace. Third, Take elective modules that use experiential learning. If you don't have this in the university, it's completely fine. How many of you actually attend online courses, free online courses? Where during NCO, semua duduk kat rumah kan? Not working from home some more, studying from home. How many of you actually join online courses from home? If I can tell you, there are so many online courses. The online courses, it's like experiential learning, free. You just have to click, go and join there, sit down, do nothing, just listen. So many people who want to gain experience training give free online courses. So join them, understand, go for leadership courses, just sit down and listen. It's fine. That is how you actually learn. So these are some of the things, right, to boost your soft skills. Second, about your career capital. Maybe I don't think I will take very long here. I will probably have to end it soon for you. Find out which skills are the most sought after in your particular field. So if you're talking about biotechnology, right, what are the skills that you need? Do you think working for a biotech company or a research company or a diagnostic company, you probably need to be very, very good in handling technical parts of a computer? Do you need that? Okay, I can see kepala geling lah. Luckily you all geling. So it's not true, right? So you don't have to know. So if you are getting ready to go out there, Google, find out. Google is so fast. You can learn so many things. Find what are the skills that you need that will be most sought after in your field. Simple. Probably in biotech field, right? They would see, wow, how many research the student actually did when they were in the university. Wow, they actually joined this competition. They actually joined that competition, public speaking, debate. They will look at all this. Okay, so these are some of the skills that you may probably need to even boost your communication skills. Then the next one, take time to improve your skills. So instead of always focusing to get 90% or 100% in your academic qualifications, do spend more time. How do you actually enhance your skills? Because trust me, from my personal experience, 7 A's in PMR, 9 A's in SPM, and straight A's in A levels are not going to land you a job. Okay, so your technical skills are very, 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 very important. Your soft skills are very important. And for that, you need to go and look for how you want to learn things outside of your academic qualification. Okay, and the last one, take up internships to gain skills. I think now a lot of them are actually doing this, right? Even in AstraZeneca, we actually get universities to come and sit in for our talks to understand how we actually get interns to the company. And I don't think AstraZeneca is the only pharma company. There's so many pharmaceutical companies are actually hiring interns. So when you become an intern, you actually go and work in MNCs or even smaller companies, right? What you learn is you learn how to take up responsibility. So you take up responsibility, you deliver a work. As an intern, that is a perfect start in your career. So you can actually start doing that. And apart from all these things that you see, right, some of the career prospects that I could tell you, all of you, I think I assume you're biotechnology students. Some of the career prospects that you can consider once you graduate are research and lab assistants. These are for people who are introverts. A lot of you who like to sit in the lab. You don't like to go and meet people, interact. You think that you want to sit down and do work, then probably these are some of the jobs that you can consider. How about, okay, you can also consider molecular diagnostics. Molecular diagnostics also require you to actually sit in the labs to do your research. Other than that, you can become a science journalist. So journalist is someone who spend a lot of time writing and reading, right? So I'm telling you all these jobs for people who likes reading, writing, doing lab work. So these are some of the things you can consider. How about if you are someone who likes to talk, who likes to meet people, who likes to do networking, you can actually consider pharmaceutical jobs. So in pharmaceutical jobs, they have sales, they have marketing, they have medical. For me, the job that I'm doing now, I'm from the medical department. And then we have regulatory affairs, quality assurance. So you can consider pharmaceutical industry, and pharma is continuously developing industry in terms of research development of medicines for patients. Other than that, you can also consider job prospects for health and safety departments. They also acquire people who come from the science background, so biotechnology may help in that sense. So those are some of the career prospects that I could share with you. And I'll be happy to answer further questions after this instead of me speaking. So I think from the agenda, I understand the Q&A is towards the end, right? So I will reserve that. But this is my last slide, and I just have one last thing to say to end this presentation. Technical skills will get you the interview very fast. They ask you to dissect clinical paper. They ask you to answer 50 questions, all that. No problem. We can answer. But soft skills will get you the job. And this is truly coming from the industry and the workforce, because all they want is actually people who can derive business, people who can continue research, people who are very daring enough to take challenges and see how you can move on to improve the healthcare ecosystem or whatever in the country or in the world. That's why I keep mentioning soft skills are important. And last but not the least, I always mention this to some of my mentees, right? Get a mentor. It's very important. Why? Why I say that is because when I was in the university, I never had a mentor. Okay, they had a mentor-mentee program lah. So mentors are always the senior person. So it's okay, it's fine. So normally, we will go to the mentor. Kakak, boleh tak I tanya, modul ni semua nak print kat mana? Ini nak binding kat mana? So we look for mentors to ask where to print, where to bind. We ask them to teach us to do these kind of things. But a lot of times what we overlook is that mentors can help you in many, 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 many different ways. Find a person who you aspire to be. Like, for example, someone who you think that, I think this person can teach me certain good values. It may not be only for your work purposes, your career, but it could also be for your lifetime. So, and also our mentors can change. Probably in 2 years time you feel like, I think I learned enough already, maybe I should look for another mentor. So look for mentor actually helps you to keep your motivation very high. So I will end my presentation with that last point, and thank you very much. Over to you, Ezatun.
Thank you, Dr. Rethina, for sharing such great information that is very useful for all of us. I believe that our audience will make good use of the given tips. Fellow audience, we are moving on to our second slot of the day. I am directing this to the pilot of students' life, that is our fellow lecturer, for the question. Dr. Irwan, you are one of the lecturers who used to study here in UPM. So, could you tell us your experience on how do you get to where you are now?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Thank you for having me. My story is not so dramatic. It's quite straightforward, really. But what will be helpful to you is I'm going to try to remember some details from what happened and maybe try to point out some life principles or tactics that you can adopt despite our different circumstances. So by the time I was in the final year, I didn't actually know exactly what job I want to get. And internship wasn't part of the core curriculum back then. So I had no idea how working life is like, what kind of jobs out there as a biotech student. But I knew two things. So firstly, I knew that I wanted to get a PhD. It doesn't matter in what field, but I knew I want to get one. And it wasn't because I like lab research or experiments that much. I never did. But because for me, PhD is the highest formal learning program there is. And I love learning, and I wanted to see if I could get to the highest level. The The second thing that I knew about myself was I want to be in education, a teacher or a trainer of some kind, because I believe that's a fundamental way of improving the conditions of the ummah, of the society. And I love learning, and training and teaching others is an honorable excuse to improve my own learning. So I suppose that that would be your first principle, right? So you don't need to know exactly what job you want to get now. I mean, it would be brilliant if you do know, but don't feel panicky if you are graduating soon and you have no idea what job you're going to aim for. At the same time, you need to generate some kind of ideas of what's authentic to you, what's true to you, and what is and what's not who you are, what you like, what you don't like. And what you don't like is just as important as what you like. I knew I liked learning and education, but as importantly, I knew that I didn't want to start a biotech company or be a full-time lab research uh, scientist or being sales executive for a tech company, you know. So it doesn't mean that you will get everything that feels true, feels authentic to you, and avoid everything that you don't want to do. But thinking about these things is a useful navigational setup, right? To decide a broad direction of where you want to go. It helps narrow things down, right? So for example, if after you graduate, you have three choices. One is to do a master's degree. The other one, you can join a family business. And the other one, you can apply for a lab position at a hospital or at AstraZeneca. So if you know enough about yourself, you can probably eliminate one of those, right? So you can focus your energy to evaluate the remaining two. So even if you don't know exactly what job you're aiming for, make sure you think about the broad direction of where you want to go. Okay, so after I graduated, I applied to be a research assistant at MTech at Prof. Raj's lab. It's mostly a practical decision because I needed to buy food and pay the rent, and also I want to gain some experience in the lab. And at the same time, I'm trying also to look for a long-term uh, opportunities. So Prof. Raji gave me that temporary job. Dr. Adam Leo was there. He was a postdoc there. Dr. Suryana was there. Dr. Dina, Dr. Baya, they were doing their masters back then. And around that time, Alhamdulillah, I got called by the head of department, Prof. Norhani. So I was in her office when she told me that the department is looking for a tutor and they will consider promoting you to a lecturer later if you get a PhD. So she asked me, would you be interested to be a tutor? So I was like, yes. I knew it was a yes because it fits with the broad direction that I mentioned before. Now, had someone else came to me offering, they're going to say, we are running a startup business on a biotech product and we want to partner up with you. So we'll give you, I don't know, 30% of equities. I probably would say no, even though the offer might be better financially, because it doesn't feel like me. It's not where I want to go to. So I accepted that tutorship offer, and the primary job when you are a tutor was to find a PhD position overseas. So I did actually ask Prof. Nohani, the head of department, can I just do my postgraduate study, my master's, my PhD at MTech at Prof. Raj's lab? And she said, no, it has to be overseas and you have to find a PhD position. So because of that, I learned how to apply for a PhD position. So you want to hear this because some of the stuff may be similar to applying for internship placements or job positions. So number one, you want to focus on appropriate so I need to convince or communicate with a native English speaker from overseas. So I need to make sure that I write email in clear English. I remember spending so much time studying the basics of English grammar just to make sure that I use the sentences properly because I didn't have ELEX like you guys have. So I needed to study. I needed to study uh, English outside of the curriculum. So today you can use apps like Pro Writing Aid, Grammarly, and Ginger to proofread your writing. Um, However, if you're applying for agency or company that use the Malay language predominantly, or to supervisors from UKM who do their postgrad degree in Malay, write in proper Malay language, right, to project your professionalism in your writing. And so don't write in English in that case. So you can use UKM has this website called Portal Maya Istilah Science. So you can use that website. So that's number one. Number two, when you want to apply for a PhD position, you want to think about how you can customize your approach. So don't send the same emails to multiple potential supervisors. You want to tailor each one of your email to address specifically to each lecturer. So in order to do that, you want to read about them, what they're working on, find something about their work that you genuinely like, and then tell them why you like it, what you like about it. And the same thing goes with your curriculum vitae, your CV. So your CV might need to be adjusted depending on who you are sending it to. So if your potential supervisor is from university overseas, they might not be able to appreciate your achievements in your secondary schools, right? So you can take that out of your CV. And if you're not from this faculty, if you're not from biotech, and you want to put in, for example, your BioMIX involvement in your CV, you might want to put like a short comment about what that organization is so that they know what this organization is, and they can appreciate what you have achieved. And you can also write about why do you want to do your study with that particular supervisor. I mean, what have you read about their research? You should avoid asking them to find you another supervisor. So I've seen emails like that sometimes. So they say, if you're not if you don't have a place for me, could you please um, ask another lecturer to supervise me? So don't do that, because I guess you can do that if you know them personally and have worked with them before, because otherwise it gives it gives them a bad impression of your assertiveness, right? You want people to do things for you. So little things like that, the extra effort can set you apart from other candidates. um, and then you just work on volume. You send your emails to as many lecturers as you can. You go to the websites of different universities. I think you have to send emails to at least 15 different supervisors, maybe 20, and inshallah you get one. You just need one anyway. And don't feel bad about rejections. I got a reply where the supervisor said basically he didn't think I was good enough to do a PhD with his group, which I took positively, right? So, because whenever possible, you want to know if you're not good enough before you start something, so that you don't waste your energy there. You can redirect yourself to other more promising opportunities. There was another supervisor also, I remember. She said she's interested in my application, and we got on quite well. But then she stopped replying to my emails. Um, I have no idea why. I hope she's all right. And very often, the supervisors, they just say no because they don't have a place available. Like right now, if you want to do a postgraduate study with me, I can't take you because I don't have the grant money to support your project. Oh, yes, that's another thing. You will have much higher chances of getting accepted for a PhD position if you can find your own source of scholarship to pay for your living expenses, right? So that's a big plus. So see if you can apply for scholarship before you apply for master or PhD positions. So that's what you do. So eventually I got a PhD position in Australia, and it's quite a struggle. So I suppose I'll tell you more about the PhD experience if it comes up later. But the short of it is, when I came back, I was called for the interview to be a lecturer here, and once you started working as a lecturer, you need to learn a lot on the job, because when you do your PhD, you primarily do research, and when you start working as a lecturer, you have other dimension of your career. You have to learn about teaching. Have to learn about like a paperwork, some administrative stuff. And so what I did was, for example, for teaching, I joined the class of Dr. Wan Zuhainis because she was one of the um, how do you say, one of the reputable lecturers here when it comes to teaching. So I actually come to her class, sit at the back, and watch how she teaches. So you might want to do something similar if you get to a new job. Try to find someone who has been there, uh, who have more experience working at that place, and try to kind of shadow them. Okay, so that's how I ended here. I I will end with this. So that tutorship offer, that's a crucial turning point. Um, so metaphysically speaking, that is God opening the door for me. So it wasn't me. It wasn't because I deserved it. In Islam, it's called rizq, like provision, rizqi. So he opens different doors to different people, not based necessarily on what we want, but based on his hikmah, his wisdom. That doesn't mean that you will just get good opportunities without effort. Sure, there wasn't much effort at the end. I don't remember even applying for that tutorship position formally. So that door was open for me. But I did put massive, massive effort to be in front of that door in the first place. Because the reason the faculty agreed to offer me that tutorship was because they knew who I was. Because when I was a student like you, I was active in classes. I worked hard to understand lessons and asking good questions to lecturers. I prepared well during assignment presentations. Oh yeah, the head of department, Prof. Nurhani, she came to one of my presentations during my final year. I remember I was presenting about ERID. ERID is emergence and re-emergence of infectious diseases. So back then, we students, we didn't know why she was there. Head of departments don't normally come to students' presentations, but now I know she was there to see me presenting, right? If I were if I were lazy and did a rubbish job on that presentation, she probably would go to the department meeting and say, "Oh, I saw Irwan's presentation today, and it's not a lecturer material." So things might turn out differently with my career. I was also active at the faculty. I was the president of BioMIX. I was terrible though at the residential college activities because I was an introvert with very poor social skills. And the college, ya Allah, there were so many college activities, and I couldn't do those and try to study and do well in my exams. I remember a college senior coming to my room and pressured me to join some kind of activities outside. And I said, I can't because I've got an exam tomorrow. And you know what he said? He said, your classmates also have exams tomorrow and they are out there doing the college activities. So why can't you? You know what I said? I said, well, if they have exams tomorrow, they shouldn't be out there. They should be in their rooms prepping for the exams. You see? Um, so I had a minor fallout with my seniors. So I wasn't their favorite person in college. It went bad that I chose to leave the college in the first year, in the second semester. I couldn't even finish a whole year staying in college because I respect them. I don't want things to get out of hand, and I can see where they're coming from. It's just, you know, enough to do both. So I decided to focus on my study. And I only became active in the co-curriculum, in the BioMIX, especially during my maybe third year, when I'm confident I was more experienced in studying. So that strategy worked, and my CGPA wasn't awful in the end. I got a first class degree. So so you see, I'm telling you all this as an example of an important principle. So that career career opportunities comes to us sometimes not because we are stressing out, chasing after it, right? I didn't know about what will happen when I left college to focus on my study in the first year. And every time I prepare for my assignment, I didn't know that one day the head of department is going to come and watch my presentation. That's all just risk, provision from God. What you can do right now, if you're feeling a bit anxious, you're feeling about um, what's going to happen to me after I graduate, uh, you you do your best to look at the options that you have, and then you try to take care of the current responsibilities, take care of it however imperfectly. So you do your best in your assignments, you do your best in your exams, you try to be active in co-curricular activities like the BioMIX, and then you put your tawakkul, you put your faith in the mechanics of reality that if we do the right things, God will open appropriate doors for us in the future. Right. I think that's all from me for now.
Thank you, Dr. Irwan, for the very informative sharing. I believe that fellow audience will be inspired from hearing your experience to be successful in their future career. Oh, other than that, Dr. Irwan, most of us are eager to know what should students consider before pursuing our study or moving on to getting a job after graduation.
Okay. So you need to, what do you have to think about when you decide whether you want to continue your study or to start working? Well, firstly, if you do your postgraduate study, you're going to get paid very little. Yeah, remember, I work as a research assistant at MTech, so this was over 10 years ago. You know how much I got paid? 1,500 ringgit. Do you know how much you will get paid today if you are a master student? Usually, 1,500 ringgit. If you have SGRA, the Special Graduate Research Allowance, you can max out to 1,800, but usually you get 1,500. For GRF, I think you get 1,000. So anyway, if you get 1,500 ringgit today, does that mean you and the people back in 2010 will have the same purchasing power? No, because of inflation. So for the past years, annually, the inflation rate is about 0.6% to 3%. So you can talk to your friends who study in business school. They'll tell you that the ringgit depreciation cumulatively is about 20%, 25%. What that means is you need 20% more money now to afford the same thing 10 years ago. Yeah. So, for example, if you want to maintain a certain standard of living with 1500 ringgit per month 10 years ago, today you will need 20% of 1500 is 1 in 5, 300, 300 plus 1500, 1800. So today you need 1800 ringgit to maintain the same standard of living. Anything less than that, you you basically can't afford to live like how people were before. So that's a serious thing. It doesn't look good financially in the short term and in the middle term. However, for the long term, doing your masters and doing your PhDs, getting a PhD might compensate for that. I learned about this when I was trying to write an article for my website a while ago. It's about considering choosing to continue to study or to work. So I did some reading on that topic. I found that in many countries, including Malaysia, people do earn better if they have higher education. So this is the same in the US, in Japan, in South Africa as well. Today, if you have a PhD, you can earn probably 5,600, 5,000 to 6,000 ringgit at least. So that's a decent argument for saying that you will earn more later. But then you can counter argue it because, it takes, I don't know, 5 to 7 years to get there. You have to do your master's maybe 2 years and then your PhD for another 4 years. So that's 6 years. So instead of doing your master's and PhD, if you spend the next 6 years working on your own business or working in private companies, you might earn way more than that and you don't need the PhD. So I guess the conclusion for my point number one is don't do master or PhD only because you think you're gonna earn more money. It's possible, but it's not clear that that will be the case. But I'm confident to say that you will earn enough, inshallah. You won't be in the B40 category. You can get to the upper end of the M40 category. And secondly, if you want to decide whether you want to continue your study or you want to work right after you finish your undergraduate study, ask yourself, how do you want to live experientially, like day to day? Because, like I said, you do masters for 2 years and then PhD maybe 4 or 5 years. That's a big chunk of your life. Are you going to be okay spending it that way? Um, so there are specific questions that you can explore, and depending on the answer, you can decide for yourself whether you want to continue studying or start working. The first question, for example, this is a scary one. Do you really like the field you're studying right now? Some students avoid that questions to themselves because, well, because they're worried to face the possibility that they have taken the wrong path and they have wasted the last 3 or 4 years doing this degree. Well, first of all, when you learn something sincerely for the sake of God, you never waste it. Every megabyte of information that you have learned will shape your thoughts, will help you grow as a person. So you would only think learning is wasteful if you focus you focus it from the materialistic lens, right? Because if you study science, studying science trains your mind. Scientific thinking shapes the way you deal with problems, the way you view the world. So that training of mind, that scientific problem solving are useful, even if you don't work in science career later. And second of all, there are career paths that don't really care that much what bachelor degree you have. So it's not wasted. I read that some jobs in financial services, public relations, human resources, social media, and marketing positions, and journalism. You can enter these fields even with your science degree, even if you can be a science journalist, even if you don't have a degree in journalism. You see what I mean? In fact, it might be it might even make you more competitive if the position is science related, because your thinking, your problem solving skills that you develop in your bachelor's degree, they will become your competitive advantages no matter which of the programs that you are in right now. The second question that you can ask yourself is, if you enjoy, you like the current field that you're studying right now, that you want to do this for the rest of your life, try to consider also which aspect of this field that you enjoy more and which one that you enjoy less. So, for example, do you like working in the lab for the whole day, every day? Or do you feel like working in the lab feels like Dementors of Azkaban, which suck your soul and you don't look forward going to the lab every day? Or do you feel that you miss working in the lab during this MCO, right? So you can also ask yourself, do you like academic writing, the complexity of it? Or do you feel like you're falling asleep at every paragraph when you try to write your thesis or your lab reports? Or you actually enjoy writing them? You feel like you are intellectually exploring things. So finding answers for these questions are important, because if you do want to get a PhD, that will be your life day in and day out for the next 4 years, 5 years. And if you think that if you think that God, I can't even wait to even get done with my final year project, I can't stand this anymore, then you should consider an alternative path. And last one, this is something I put in the article. Um, Consider seriously other dimension of your life, such as marriage, right? So when your mom asks you to get married early, sometimes you kind of dismiss it because you think she just do that because she wants grandchildren, right? But come on, look at the matter as a science student. I know I know we can feel young no matter what age we are, but no matter how young you feel at heart, your physiology has a clock. You physically get older every year. And as you get older, you will face more risk and problems to have children, to start a family. And that's just biology. So for guys, for example, you might feel like that you've got a lot of energy right now, right? You can conquer the world right now. That energy level over time, they will go down. And taking care of a wife and children is energetically expensive. So you need to be fit physically to be a great husband. You know, to come back from work after hard work in the office, you need to come home and help cleaning the house and be attentional, to pay attention to your wife, to play and teach your children, to deal with family crises from your side of the family and the family crisis from your wife's side of the family. You need energy to think about and to manage your finances, to to manage your to manage the spiritual education of your wife and children. And all these need mental and physical energy. um, for girls, for the female students, beside the energy level, you will also face the higher risk, um, the longer you wait to get married and getting pregnant. And the risk will come to the baby. The risk will come to your own health. You can get sick and going through so much pain, um, if the risk is not managed properly. Now, at this point, you might think, why are we thinking about family and pregnancy this early and in a career forum, right? The answer is because all these factors, career choices, money, family, they all interact with one another in your life. You're not running them separately. You run all those operations simultaneously. And if your love life, your personal life, your family life fall apart because you don't think them as much as your career, you're going to go through some psychological pain that you can't imagine right now. I know this because I've been there. So you don't want to ignore your personal life because of career. So I suppose part of wisdom is try to perceive life multidimensionally, try to perceive them all at once. So not just the career dimension and not just the family dimension separately. So try to be wise and try to think about your career choices strategically by considering all those things, considering how you want to experience your day to day for the next 3 to 5 years, and also consider about getting married sooner rather than later. Right. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Irwan. Now I have a question to Dr. Rethina. From your point of view of Dr. Rethina, what do you think are the pros and cons of choosing a career in the academic and industrial field? Thank you very much,
Okay,
Dr.
so
Rethina.
now I'm thinking what to answer for the academic part, but I'll answer from the industrial perspective, right? Because what I heard from Dr. Irwan was so interesting, his journey. Because if I made the choice of staying in clinical practice and eventually become a specialist or a lecturer, then I will be the best fit to talk to you for from the academic side, right? But I chose a completely a different part of life to join the pharmaceutical industry. So let me talk about the industry perspective first. The industry is not so much of a different compared to academia per se, because why? It all involves lifelong learning. So be it the academic side or even in the industry, you are required to continuously learn. That is inevitable. You cannot run away from that. But industry experiences are more challenging as a day-to-day event, because you are consistently pressured to improve and show, how do I say this, performance. So, for example, like for me, right, I did not just start as a manager. My process of becoming up until an international medical excellence lead took over 6 years. I started off when I ended my housemanship and I left the clinical practice. It was very difficult to find a job. So the first question is, hey, you studied for medicine. Why are you leaving the clinical practice? So it's a very difficult process to make people understand why I wanted to do the paradigm shift. It's a huge paradigm shift in my life. So when I wanted to do that, I needed to clarify and make people understand why I wanted to make that change, right? So that's one thing that was already challenging in the beginning. So when I moved on, the job that I got was a sales job. So what is a salesperson in the pharma industry does is that they have to literally convince doctor to buy their medicine. Okay, so that is literally me running after my peers in the hospitals, right? So that's one thing that was already challenging in the beginning. So when I moved on, the job that I got was a sales job. My ego under my feet, thinking that I no longer a practicing clinical doctor, but I have to do justification to my role as a salesperson, and I needed to do my job. So that's how I grew more maturely day by day, right? So that is what the industry expects from you. Just because you're a DR, when you go out there, you're still a salesperson. Okay, so that was one of the challenging part. And once from sales,
people who were in the company realized that, hey, this girl got a DR. She's actually a medical degree holder. Why don't we give her a chance in the medical department? Only then I was given an opportunity to join the medical department. So when I went into medical department, it was so beautiful. Why? Because there were a lot of doctors. So now pharmaceutical industry hire a lot of people from the biomedical, biotech, pharmacist background, and also medical background. So when I got into there, I learned how to dissect clinical papers extensively. So we are the brand ambassadors for every drug that we sell, but from the medical perspective. So we don't go and talk to doktor belilah satu kotak hari ni, you akan dapat bonus esok. No, no, no. We don't do that. What we do is convince the doctors in terms of scientific evidence from the drugs that we sell. So it was very interesting. But again, so you are working for a company, right? No matter what industry you're talking about, at the end of the day, it is revenue generating industry. So people are looking into business, people are looking into money. So your job is eventually to help the company to gain profit. Simple. So to gain profit, you have to meet the numbers, you have to meet the KPIs. So this is the challenging part of being in the industry. It is and in the beginning, it will be so people it was very difficult for me because why? I came from the government. So your job is eventually to help when you go into private, you are expected to be independent. Okay, so to gain profit, you have to meet the numbers. Tomorrow you come and present to us. So this is the challenging part of being in the industry. In the beginning, and when you dissect clinical papers, it's not just okay, doctor. This is primary objective. This is the secondary objective, and da 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 da. No, so you need to dissect it in a way that you summarize the whole clinical paper and attach to the benefits of the medicine that you sell. And you need to be very convincing. So all this while I was only convincing myself to treat patients in the hospital, I ended up convincing doctors to buy medication. It's a whole new experience, but I only told myself that I need to persist. So persistence to the benefits of the medicine that you sell. Eventually, what happened was that so all this while I realized that to treat patients in the hospital, my very ended up pharma company convincing doctors to buy medication. Growing very it's a whole new the organization had many people at the same level, so it's very difficult for you to climb the ladder. I decided to move. That's when I came to AstraZeneca. So when I came to AstraZeneca, it's a whole new company. The challenges are different. So you have to be someone who is very adaptive, always like seeking out, oh my God, they're going to give me a new task, they're going to give me a new project. How am I going to deliver efficiently? So that I always had mentors, and my mentors are normally from the same organization and outside of the organization. So I continuously seek for understanding, and I worked very, very hard. So there's a lot of um, I would say hard work in the sense that doing research, understanding, interacting with people. Sometimes you need to come out of your comfort zone. Um, being in academic, I think it's challenging in terms of where you are and how you want to escalate further. It's not you don't have so many opportunities to go very far from where you want to be. But in the industry, you can actually look for opportunities in various different platforms and companies per se. For example, like what I mentioned to you, from sales I moved to medical. In pharma, for biotech students, or even social science or applied sciences, you can actually do various different kind of jobs. You can do regulatory jobs, you can do quality assurance, you can do health and safety, you can do medical, you can do sales, you can do marketing. So there's a huge diverse options that are available for you, right? um, but in a nutshell, I would say uh, you will constantly face challenges, and you need to be someone who is very adaptive, or another word I could use is agile. So instead of saying that I don't think I'm prepared for this, maybe I'll take it on further, it is like you are taking the opportunity that came knocking on your door, you give to someone else.
That is how challenging the industry is. So you need to be able to gain the maturity to grasp opportunities as fast as you can, so you can actually climb the ladder. And in AstraZeneca, 2.5 years, I of course, I like the part that Dr. Irwan mentioned, the flexibility of thinking, the family, career, that part. I was a workaholic. I think I still am. I'm a workaholic, I think. There are pros and cons to it, okay? No, I won't give discounts to it, but I think I worked so hard. What I did was I focused probably 200% delivering in whatever that I can. And when you deliver, when the people around you actually see what you deliver and they know that you're very passionate about what you do, they actually give you opportunity. And for a person who's from Malaysia to take up an international role, okay, so let me talk a little bit about international role, right? If you are in an industry, pharmaceutical industry, if you cover Malaysia, that is local role. If you cover countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, that's called regional role or Asia area role. If you cover international role, you cover close to 17 countries and 7 clusters. So that's inclusive of close to 60, 70 countries. So you work with people from the international region to deliver projects and tasks for people who belong to that 60 to 70 countries. And that was the opportunity that I got. And for us, like what I mentioned earlier, for a person from Malaysia or even Singapore to actually land in that position in international, it takes a lot of hard work. And when you're there, things are not going to be easy. Things are never easy, right? Basically, even being a student is like so difficult. When I was a student, I wanted so bad to work. Now that I'm working, I feel like, oh my God, I would have just stayed in medical school. Okay, so that happens. But what I wanted to say is that the changes that you experience, even when you're working, will be constant. You just need to know how to grasp the opportunities and continuously tell yourself that you must be able to adapt to changes, and most importantly, deliver what you're passionate about. If you are in an industry that you think that you feel like, I think I'm working only for money lah. No, it's not going to work, because you will sustain in that industry probably, say, I give you 6 months. In 6 months, you'll be burnt out. No, I can't do this job. It's just too pressurizing for me. I would say pressure is one thing. Secondly, you need to be very passionate about what you do. So if you are a biotech student, but you have very huge amount of passion that you want to look into training people on sciences or things like that, then look into that kind of a job opportunity. But when you're there someday, after 3 years, you'll realize maybe I should become a lecturer. So things change, right? But at this point of time, touch your heart and ask yourself, what would be the next step that you need to take that will keep you happy at least 3 years or 2 years down the road? That will help you alongside when you're trying to reach out to the industry. I do not want to compare so much with academia, because I think it's a whole different ball game, a beautiful ball game. Probably Dr. Irwan will be the best person to explain that. But what I would say is that industry is very challenging, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. So rewarding in many sense lah. The pay, the work, the culture. You get to travel. You get to meet people from different countries, different culture, to understand how things are working there. And most importantly, the satisfaction that you feel is that even though you're helping your company to gain profit, you are helping every single patient out there to become better. So I always tell myself, even though I am not a specialist, any specialist in the clinical practice, but I call myself as a pharmaceutical specialist, because I help patients in a different way. That's all. So I hope that answered your question, Ezatun. I hope that's helpful enough from the industry perspective.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Rethina. What a great input from our panel. I guess our last panel has been waiting for too long and can't wait to share his opinion to us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can all straighten up our backs as we are about to start the final slot. For this session, can all of us have an overview regarding internship, job seeking, and workplace interactions? I am handing over the event to Mr. Luqman. As a first year student, I'm kind of curious on how to apply the skills and experience you get from internship into our proper job. And there's a moment that I would like to know, what is the difference from being an undergraduate student to fresh graduate and finally working in the industry? I'm kind of curious on how to apply the skills and experience you get from internship into our proper job. And there's a moment that I would like to know,
Can you hear me?
what is the difference from being
All
an
right.
undergraduate
So,
student
good morning,
to
everyone.
fresh graduate and finally
And
working
thank you
in
for
the
having me. Thank
industry?
you, Mrs. Atun. Thank you, Dr. Irwan. Thank you, Dr. Rethina, and each and every one of you here. Let me say that I love all the points shared by Dr. Rethina and Dr. Irwan. It resonates with me so much because I just went through everything they said. Right? I just graduated August, not August 2016, 17, like last August. You remember August? Yeah, I just graduated. Right? I just have that transition from an undergraduate to fresh graduate and to an employee. I mean, to an employee. So I am in no place to share anything significant with you guys. But what I can do is maybe I can some kind of verify what Dr. Regina and Dr. Irwan has shared because I just went through it. So they shared something and I just went through it. So this is how it is like in real life, what I have been through. Okay, and about internship and workplace, it actually different. It is actually different because in while you are doing internship, you have a supervisor that trains you as a student. So in their eyes, you are a student and you need a lot of help. So they will teach you and show you one by one. While in workplace, they expect you to know everything. So like Dr. Rethina said, they expect you to know how to do things. They just give you something and okay, do this, and you just like, what? Do what? You don't know what to do, so you have to discover by yourself. So during internship, what you can do is instead of asking for direct help from your supervisor, ask them to show you how to get that information by yourself. And okay, I'm actually quite nervous. So from what Dr. Ritin and Dr. Irwan has shared, okay, just to share my personal experience, right? I like that point about introvert and extrovert because I am an introvert, and from what I know, okay, Dr. Retina and Irwan can correct me if I'm wrong. Introversion and extroversion is not about your ability to interact. It is actually energy. An introvert loses energy from social interaction, and extrovert gains energy from social interaction. So to put it easily, an introvert wakes up in the morning with 5 coins, and with every interaction, they loses 1 coin, and at the end of the day, they feel depleted. While an extrovert wakes up in the morning with 0 coins, and every social interaction they gains, they get 1 coin. So at the end of the day, they feel rich social from that social interaction. So that is the difference between introvert and extrovert. It has nothing to do with your interpersonal skills and communication skills. I am a big introvert. I am very shy. I'm very awkward with people. If you know me personally, you know that well. But I can talk, right? And my experience in going to interview with this job that I get. So after I get a job, 2 weeks like that, I know that there are many candidates applying for the job, and I stumble into them also during the interview. So I asked the hiring manager, "Why did you pick me?" Nice. I don't know why I asked that, but I asked, like say, Mr. Wong, if it doesn't bother you, can I ask you why did you hire me instead of other applicant? And the only answer he gave me is, in his words, is because you are a hell of a talker. Because you are a hell of a talker. Because I can talk. That is what he said. And so the point that I want to focus on here is during your studies, what you should try to do is learn and brush up your interpersonal skills as much as possible, your communication skills. And there are I can say there are two kinds, right? If you can do presentation and interview wells, that is one. And another one is how you interact with people in your workplace, with your superior, with your coworker, and with your clients if you have to. You have to know how to present yourself. Like Dr. Rethina said, entrepreneurship skills. That is a very hard word to pronounce. Okay, entrepreneurship skills. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and from learning entrepreneurship skills. It's different. You need to learn entrepreneurship skills because everyone is eventually an entrepreneur. You have something to sell, and in this case, you are selling yourself, right? When you write an email to apply for a job, or you send a resume, or you are going to an interview, what you are actually doing, you are actually saying to this company, hey, I can do this and that. I'm worth to invest on. You are actually marketing yourself. You are actually marketing yourself to the company that you are something worth to invest. You are somebody that they can take and make profits from. Because for companies, you are an investment. They take you, they pay you, they train you, what you can give them. So you need to know how to present that. Even if you can do jobs, but you don't know how to show that, then it will be a bit difficult. Yeah. And then for Dr. Irwan's scary questions, do you like what you are studying right now? Okay, if some of you, the answer is no. Um, just to let you calm a bit, I don't like what I studied. Yeah, and I'm a terrible student. The lecturer said no, that very well, but it is not always. Yeah, it is not always at all. I went through that 4 years elegantly, and I just landed my job now. So it's fine. It's totally fine if you don't like it. Just do it, finish it up, and then you can. And as a science student, you can literally work anywhere, almost anywhere, except for things like accounting. Other than that, you can possibly go. My just so you are not questioning like, okay, if he's a terrible student, then how can he get a job? Okay, my CGPA is 3.2. Right, it's not that good, but it's not that bad as well. Okay, 3.2. And the last slide on Dr. Retina's technical skills get you the interview, soft skills get you the job. Yeah, that is actually very true, because when they are choosing who to interview, they're looking at your resume, what you put there, your technical skills, your CGPA. But then what they evaluate on your interview is your soft skills. They don't ask technical questions at all. What they ask you is, tell me about yourself. That is your soft skills. How do you handle pressure? That is soft skills. Um, your experience. That is also soft skills. That is all they ask in an interview. And about experience, I don't have any job experience at all. So my experience that I present on the interview is my internship, is my leadership activities, leadership roles, such as being a program director or even as an MC, as a moderator. I've done all that, and that is the experience that I showed. Um, Even group assignments can be your experience as well. If you're doing a group presentation, right? How you handle your team, how do you manage them? If you are a leader of that team, like how do you make sure everyone do their parts and present their parts well? That is also considered leadership. If you know how to put all of this experience in proper words, that can be the experience that they are looking for. And that comes to the next point, which is about sending same emails to all potential supervisors, right? You can do that while you are looking for internships or workplace as well, right? What I see most people do is they have this one template and then just send it all to the potential companies that they have, and that is very wrong, right? What you need to do is, okay, let me give you an example. If I am to sell you a shirt, a black shirt, and I say, hey miss, I have this black shirt, do you want to buy? Versus if I say, hi Izatun, I noticed you like red scarf, and I have this black shirt that suits you very well. Would you like to try to put it on? It resonates you better because now I know who you are, I know what you like, and this what I have can suit you. So that is what you want to try to do. You have to see what the company are looking for, what they do, and then you try to present yourself that suits the company. For example, if you are applying for a quality QA as a QA executive, right? So you know what QA needs is they need to be observant, they need to be meticulous, right? So you say, I noticed in your application that you want someone that is tidy and meticulous. During my study, I am able to do my lab work precisely, blah blah blah. So what they want, you answer, and that is how you send the application, not just generally, and that will get you the job faster. And I can be the proof for you because I graduated on August and I get my job on September, which is quite fast, right? So, okay. And Dr. Rethina shared about skills mismatch. And as a graduate, turning into an employee, I can say that the skills mismatch very much. Like what we learned during our studies didn't match to what we need to do during our working time. It's like 10% to 20%, but it doesn't mean that you don't need to learn or what you're learning is not important. No, it's just you need to change it up a bit. How you approach your studies and how you approach your work needs to be a little bit different, right? What I mean is, when you're studying, you are receiving value, you are receiving knowledge, you are receiving training. But when you are in a workplace, you are giving value in terms of your task, in terms of profits to the company. So you have to change your mindset from receiving to giving. Like how much value can you give? How can you maximum you in value? If if someone asks you to write two reasons, let's give it three. If someone asks you to write three reasons why are you happy today, how many reasons would you write? Would you write less than three? Would you write three exactly? Or would you write more than three? So to be the right person that companies want, you have to write more than three. You have to be a person who gives more than you are expected. You have to give more value. And it does not mean that you have to overwork yourself. No, just spend a little bit more effort, right? Some people have a mindset that this is my job, I do this, done. That's all I have to do. But you need to move from that mindset to a mindset that, okay, this is my job, I've done it, what else can I do? And that is how you can complete your, what is that, probation much better, right? Because now companies have, most companies have probation up to 6 months. And if you're not worth to keep after that 6 months, then you're out. At workplace now is very competitive. So you need to be competitive as well. Any other questions?
Okay, I have extra questions to Mr. Luqman. At the first slide, Dr. Rethina has mentioned some criteria of university graduates. So, I'm kind of curious from the perspective of fresh graduates. As an alumni from this faculty, from your point of view as a fresh graduate that given a chance to work in the industry, what do you think is the important criteria that are mentioned by Dr. Rethina just now that is lacking in our fresh graduates?
Okay. That will be, and this is not my word, practical skills and communication skills. This is what I get from the various industry person that I met during working. So they said that students, fresh graduates are lacking practical skills like um, hands-on, especially. They cannot do hands-on very well. And I know that can be very challenging for all of you since you are now ODL, right? So you don't have much experience in labs or things like that. So you have to look for that by yourself. Practical skills and communication skills. Like I said during the interview, how you sell yourself and how do you interact in the workplace. Because when you just started working, people, your coworker and your superior are always evaluating you in everything you do. How do you uh, talk to your coworker? How do you talk to your superior? And you are either you are either less talkative, you don't talk at all, or you don't know how to talk properly. So there's also a difference. How you talk to your superior and how you talk to your coworker, it is have to be different. So yeah, and all of this you cannot learn. You have to practice. Okay, have you ever had a moment where someone tells you a joke or just something, and then you reply with something, and 5 to 10 minutes later you think I should have said this better. You have the better answers later on, right? So that means you have the capability. It's just a bit late. It's lagging. So you have to practice and practice. And um, that is why I love Lex. LAX. You know, are you guys still taking Lex? Yeah. So um, a lot of people doesn't like Lex. They think it's a waste of time. But I think as someone who don't get much opportunity to interact with people, Lex is a very good opportunity for you to practice the way you talk. You can talk, and especially in English, right? So you can talk. Every time you have Lex, try to talk as much as possible. Try to come up with um, good comebacks, and that is how you practice it. These two skills that graduates are lacking are both skills that are need to be practiced. You cannot learn this, so you have to engage in practical skills and engage in communication skills. Maybe just try to learn a few entrepreneurship skills that will help you. You get the answer?
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Luqman Hakim. Truthfully speaking, it was really informative. So for the last one, let's move back to Dr. Irwan. Dr. Irwan, what do you think undergraduates during their campus as preparation for or even contribute to the fourth industry revolution, IR 4.0?
Okay. Um, well, I think, I guess firstly, we want to clarify what we're talking about here especially for the benefit of the younger students who might not have learned about this yet in the class. So the scholars of economics, they have identified 4 industrial revolutions. So the first industrial revolution is mechanization. This is when people started to figure out how to use steam power in their machination. So they start to use steam engines for their locomotives, for their trains. The second industrial revolution is the mass productions. This is the invention of assembly lines. So you have standardized components that you can put together like a jigsaw puzzle. The third one is automation. So the advent of the internet and the ever accelerating capacity of our computer processors, they amplify the connectivity of components in the value chains, meaning that from the extraction of the raw materials to manufacturing to even customer engagement, many parts of that can be automated. And then the economists are talking about the fourth industrial revolution, which is arguably we are in now. And it involves merging, like convergence of biological, engineering, and digital technologies. At, at the horizon of this revolution is companies like Neuralink, if you heard of it, which is working on brain-computer interface. So they will surgically put an implant on your brain to connect you with your devices. So they have like microfibers that can read your neuroelectrical activities. So if you ask in your head, is it prayer time already? And your phone will automatically open your prayer time app for you by reading your thoughts, right? So we do experience this kind of revolutions, at least in part. You can see how disruptive it is, for example, with the e-hailing services. So the rise of Uber and Grab, they wiped out the income for the conventional taxi drivers, no matter how skillful they are at their job. I know this because I rode with these drivers to go to work before I start renting my brother's car. So I talked to them, and I can tell you it's painful for them to go through that transition. So economic revolution is not just some fancy concepts. They do affect people. And you might think, well, I'm a biotech student. I'm not studying a program in taxi driving. Why should I worry about this, right? Well, you know that you've got some cool lab skills to do experiments, right? You have studied all these lab skills for years. In the fourth industrial revolution, many of those biological lab skills can be replaced by affordable machines. So then, why would a company hire you instead of just crowdsourcing it, or hire cheaper technicians to push some buttons to run the same diagnostic experiments? You see, you can be like the skilled taxi drivers who's been in the field for 10 years, and then you see your job disappearing. So how do you prepare for that? The way you prepare for something like industrial revolution, I would say, is not by preparing towards one single thing. Like any revolutions, the industrial revolution brings about disorder. Things that you take for granted before the revolution can become the exact opposite after the revolution. And what's true about our parents' job market will not be true once you graduate. I guess one thing we can do is to reflect on other creations, like microorganisms, the way they survive in an ever-changing environment is through rapid mutations, right? So they multiply the variability of their genes, which allow them to encode different proteins, which give them new phenotypes, new attributes that help them survive in their contemporary environment. So you might want to do the psychological human version of that, right? You need to generate mutations. You need to level up your adaptivity. And don't think the negative connotation of the word mutation. Don't think like a disease mutation. So think of an empowering mutations like X-Men or other Marvel characters. So they have skills, they have attributes that most people don't. So they are mutants, scientifically speaking. So to thrive in the industrial revolution, you need to develop skills, attributes that most science students don't have. You need to allow flexibility in your skill set. For example, if you study biochemistry, and if you study biochemistry, you don't want to just study to be a very, very good biochemist researcher and nothing else. You don't want to do that. Why? Because it limits your options if the industrial revolution takes a direction away from what you're focusing on, right? So take elective courses. I think Dr. Rethina mentioned this. Take elective courses that can help you maybe be cell and molecular biologists, maybe possible bioprocessing engineers, maybe microbiologists, or even something outside of that, like science product designers or science journalists. So by the time you graduate, when the job market present opportunities along those lines, you can match it at least to some part of your diverse skill sets. So you're more likely to get the job. So those are the practical things that you can do. So number one, if it's still possible, choose electives that in your curriculum that is outside your major, especially if it's something that you're interested in. Because once you leave university, it's going to take more time and money to learn something that you're deeply interested in. At university, that is your like your identity. You are a student. You can study whatever you want there. And that can be difficult if your curriculum is not that flexible. I know this because I'm part of the curriculum designing team for the microbiology department. And as a team, we do try to push for more flexibility, but it's not easy because we have to face this argument that says, well, you're offering microbiology program. We want you to produce microbiologists. So we need to put all the microbiology related courses. But by then, once we put all those things in, we don't have much space for free electives. So if that's not possible, if you can't study other skill sets through elective courses formally, try to study yourself by taking online courses. There are courses out there at Coursera and edX that offers professional certificates given by Harvard, by Cambridge universities. So see if you can get those and put them in your CV to match the job opportunity. And also be prepared to reskill yourself, right? Your career path might not be a straight line. So be open to the possibility of a lateral move to the side, that you need to learn something completely different than your current degree to adapt to job opportunities. I think BioMIX can help with this because the government has these upskilling and reskilling programs. We lecturers heard it from Dr. Wan Zuhainis, who is in the ministry now. So maybe BioMIX committee can get those information and spread it to the graduating students. And I guess finally, on top of those adaptive strategies, you can also try to go deeper when you study your core courses. Like I mentioned before, robots and machines can replace your basic lab techniques, but the contextual interpretation of the results may still need human insights. And also those machines, they need to be maintained and they need to be designed by humans who have the deep understanding of the experimental and biological concepts that underlie the machine's programming. So by understanding your discipline, your core subjects deeply, you have a chance to fulfill those roles. So you can be valuable despite the unpredictable outcomes of the industrial revolution. All right, that's all I can think of at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Irwan. With all honors, I thank our speakers for briefly explaining their points, and hopefully that clarifies the questions our students have regarding this issue. Now, we'll close the slot session and moving on to the Q&A session. To fellow audience, if you have any kind of questions regarding our discussion, you may ask the speakers now. You may unmute your microphone and speak up, or you may drop your questions in the chat box. For our viewers on YouTube, you can leave your questions in the live chat box.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. So I'm appointing this, it's not really a question, but maybe maybe opinion to Dr. Irwan. So by during this time, with the online learning, there's a point where students start to question their choice in this learning. Like, okay, I'm telling myself, there's um there's a point where I'm questioning myself, am I in the right track? Like, because there's no more lab, so it's very discouraging. It's very um I'm a quite passionate student actually, because being a scientist is actually what I want ever since I was a kid. But this at this moment I started to hard I find it hard to find a motivation how to get up back, and to survive. For me it's just how do what should I do in order to survive? That's all I think. It's just to survive, not no more fun in this course, I think. So in your point of view, you think what students, because I believe it is not just me, others also feel the same distress with the online learning. So what do you think? How do we actually can cope with this? Maybe like little tips here and there. Thank you.
Is it for me? Is it for me? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, our motivation is structured this way. The things that we want to do right now must serve something that we can value, something that we value beyond it. So, for example, people who exercise, they don't feel motivated to exercise because it feels good at the time, but because their brain, their mind can connect it to the benefit of exercise. So that goes to spiritual practice as well. So it goes to learning as well. So the reason I learn, I can share what the way I think about this. The reason I learn things is because I deeply believe that our purpose of living in this world is ma'rifatullah, is to know God, and to know God through learning about His creations and about our relationship with Him. So that's like a bigger the bigger picture that gives me motivation to study. So because of that, even if currently I don't feel like it, I sometimes can get fired up, because when I think about, I don't want to waste my life. I'm already 36 and I haven't studied so many things that I want to study, right? So that's one strategy that you can do. The second thing that you can do is, our motivation is also affected by our physical condition. If you are trying to study while lying on the bed, it is much harder to get motivation, because our mind and our body are connected, and they're not separate. They are one. So what you can do is you can try to move a bit, right? Jump around, do some push-ups, right? And another thing that you can try as students is look at the architecture of your environment, right? So for example, I have this room. This is my work room. This is my study room. So I want to make sure that this room is set up so that when I come into this room, it looks like a place for you to study. So if I mix this with other things that I do, if you put something else in here that distracts your focus, that this room can also be this thing and that thing and that thing, it becomes harder for you to, it creates more frictions to what you want to do. Another way of applying that principle is you can try to find other students who are like you. Sometimes, especially if you are extroverts, like it's been explained before. So like Luqman explained before. So extroversion and introversion, is about transactions of energy in interaction. So my battery will not be charged if I interact with people too much. So I find more motivation to study when I'm alone. but you and other students might find it, you can't study if you're alone. You need to find someone to study with you. So in that case, you try to create a small groups with your friends, try to study with them. And then how do you identify your career interests and to know whether this is the right thing for you? The thing is, I don't think you can, for most people, you don't know that in one moment. It's a cumulative experience of different moments. So the first thing that you can do is you try to find silence in your life. So clearly, you want to hear advice and listen to experiences of others about your career choice, about what you want to do in life. That's why this forum is incredibly valuable. So you should thank the team who organizes this. Now, having said that, you are unique. Maybe you're not special. We shouldn't think too much of ourselves, but you're certainly unique. So no matter what I say or the Rethina say or Luqman says, it can only be helpful as so far as it is related to how you live your life and how you view the world, which is completely different, sometimes very different than how we view the world. So on top of listening to others, you need to create a silent space regularly so that you can hear yourself, right? So the practical way of doing this is do night vigils, do tahajjud. So not just for Hidayah, for everyone. So you want to try to go to bed after Isha prayer, right? You finish your playing your Mobile Legends and watch the Korean drama before Maghrib prayer, okay? And then you pray Maghrib, and then you have dinner, and then you pray Isha, and then you go to bed, right? And then see how early you wake up. There's something about those times that's so magical, you know? So, and then you do your tahajjud, you pray 2 rakah, and then you sit in that silence, and you get yourself a notebook, maybe a paper notebook or a digital one, doesn't matter. So you make your prayer, you make dua. How do I serve in terms of career choice? And don't focus on how much money you will get at first. Money is important, by the way. Money is so important. We want people with good intention. We want God conscious people to be richer than evil people, right? So you need to think about money, but put it later. Put it under. Do you want? Put it under how you want to live your day-to-day. Put it under how you want your day-to-day life to be like. So do you want it mostly to be in the lab or in the office or at home or on road traveling, right? So you can try to get those information from your subconscious mind by having this practice. I think that should be it. Okay, so let me try to remember what did I say just now. So number one, look at your physiology, physical condition. Sometimes you feel like you don't want to study because you don't have any motivation, because what's the meaning of life? What's the point of studying all this? Sometimes it's just you don't have enough sleep, or you sleep too late and you wake up too late, or you haven't had breakfast, or you haven't talked to other people that much. So all those things have an effect on your physiology, and it creates a barriers, an obstacle to your psychology to stay motivated. So what I do, I don't feel motivated all the time. I have so much work, right? Because of this online thing, right? So I do feel sometimes that I can't do this anymore. So what I do then is, okay, let's reset. Let's do some push-up, or maybe drink water, or take a nap. The good thing about working and studying at home is you can take a nap anytime that you want. So set a timer, take a nap for half an hour, and then see how you feel like after you wake up. You usually feel more motivated if the energy, if your issue is the energy level of your body. And then what did I say? I said, make sure your environment is motivational. I went to London with my wife because I want to support her to do her master's degree in psychology. So that's a big challenge for her motivationally, because she did her undergraduate study in biomedical sciences and she didn't do really well. And suddenly she has this desire, it's my fault actually, she has the motivation, this desire to do a master's degree in psychology. So what we did over there is we make this like a poster, like she draws herself, and we stick it somewhere where she can see every day. So try to do something like that. Create an environment that pushes you to do well, to focus on your study, right? I think that's it, right? So I don't want to talk too much. I want to let the other panelists to give their ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
So we have a question from Nurul Eliana. How robots actually replace us in the lab, and if they can do anything, does that mean manpowers are unreliable anymore? So
it's my fault. I brought up the robot thing. So by robots, I don't mean like robot with arms and heads and everything. Like the PCR machine is a robot, you know. So that's what I'm referring to. More and more often, the basic lab techniques that people can do in hospitals, for example, you can just use machines to do the same thing. It doesn't mean that all the lab courses that you learn is not useful, because it depends on the context. In our country, we might not have to face that immediately because those machines so far are quite expensive. So this is the problem more in the developed countries. And so don't worry about that too much. You learn the techniques, but at the same time, you learn about the scientific concepts behind those techniques, and you'll be all right.
okay, thank you, Dr. Irwan. So next question from Iza Nuraihana. Does it mean the career I would like to have in the future systematically depends on the elective subject I choose? Let's say if I want to have a career in plants industry, but I didn't take any plants elective courses in my university years, does it mean I can't be in that type of career in the future? Maybe Dr. Rethina can answer this question.
I have an immediate answer, no. So, does it, okay, I'll repeat the question, right? Does it mean the career I would like to have in the future systematically depends on the elective subjects I chose? Let's say, okay, so the answer is no. Let's say if I want to have a career in plants industry, meaning literally agriculture plants, that's what it means, right? Okay. Let's say if I want to have career in plant industry, but I didn't take any plants elective courses in my university years, does it mean I can't be in that type of career of my life? No. I have someone I know in my life who is an automobile engineering graduate who have just started to learn agriculture and doing that as a part-time and preparing to open up their own agriculture plantation. Simple. So it doesn't necessarily be something that like, if you study this is what I'm going to end up in the future. No, that is not true. I did medical studies and I end up being a person in the pharmaceutical industry. So what I'm trying to say is, when you have a degree or a PhD or anything of that sort as your degree, as your academic qualification, and moving on in life, you want to pursue anything else, take other courses in your life. It doesn't matter. You can have certifications for that matter. For example, now I have a degree in medicine. And just in the recent 2 years, I feel like I want to become a trainer, a part of my current job. So I took up this certification course, which is called HRDF, qualification course, Human Resources Development Fund. And now I'm a certified trainer. So that is apart from what I do as a manager in AstraZeneca. So your qualification in academic doesn't really determine how your future has to be molded. Sometimes
You can take up certifications or simple courses that can add on value to your CV. So if you go to a course, for example, I do not know what career that is going to mold you in agriculture per se, but if you could tell them that I actually attended such courses, I actually worked in some plantation maybe 1-2 years ago, helping them, assisting them in some areas in agriculture industry or something like that, then people will definitely want to hire you. So for me, it's more of an added value to your academic qualification, instead of thinking that if I do this, this is what I want to end up to be. That's one. And secondly, to the robot question. Iza Nuraihana, I hope I answered. So if you want more question, please put in the chat button. But for the robot question, very interesting, right? I must tell you all this. Like what Dr. Irwan mentioned, robot is not literally a robot. So if I could say artificial intelligence, I'm sure you all have been hearing a lot about AI. AI is something that is brewing, and people are very scared. If AI is going to come to Malaysia very rapidly, we're all going to lose jobs, even in pharma or even doctors per se. Because in countries like US and China, if I'm not wrong, right? If let's say you're sick, you just open up an app. It's an app in your phone and show it to your face. It can detect temperature. And then you can actually connect with your doctors who's in their clinical practice. And the doctor just have to, scan your face or something like that. I can't really remember the specifications. But through the app, the doctor will be able to diagnose your primary diagnosis and send medicines to your home. And soon, I think, thanks to data analytics, we don't even need doctors to diagnose diseases. I don't know. But what I can assure is that you have to continuously learn what are the updates that are happening in the industry for you to be updated, for you to know where you can actually give your values effectively. So it doesn't mean that humans are no longer needed. No way. I think like Dr. Irwan's wife, she did masters in psychology. I don't think that, we don't need psychologists anymore. If you look at mental health cases are rising so high up to, to everywhere, I don't think anybody or a robot can hold up a telephone and help people to actually cure their mental disease. Things like that. You get what I mean? So there are very fine line between what human can do and what robots can do. So don't worry. I think there's still jobs secured for many of us out there. Okay. Yeah, I think I saw another 2 more questions. Do you want me to address that as Atun as well?
Yes, you can.
Okay, for the interpersonal skill, should I force myself? Okay, that's already a very negative statement. Don't force yourself to do anything. Okay, so should I force myself in joining related club activities, although I don't enjoy it, to increase the possibility to getting employed? Not necessarily. Okay, sometimes I still remember during my schooling days, you must join at least one club. So because I'm a person who loves science, I joined PBSM lah. Simple. Persatuan Bulan Sabit Merah. No need to think so much. Okay. But again, it doesn't necessarily land you to the job that you want. So extracurricular activities or club activities are meant for you to participate and network and bring out that skills of teamwork within you. It doesn't necessarily determine the career or the employment that you're going to have. However, pick and choose. Don't force yourself. Forcing yourself, like I mentioned, it will, if you are able to choose a club activity that you will enjoy, please do it. But my sincere advice, don't force yourself to do anything. Because you know why? You're wasting your energy, you're wasting your time, because that energy and that time can be used for something which is going to give you benefit in future. Okay. And the next one, what advice would you give to UPM students who find their industrial placement and job soon? Okay. Depending, I think, okay, so if you're talking about industrial placement, I'm assuming that it is pharmaceutical, let's say, or even in diagnostic or research or whatever. Understand the requirements of the internship first. That is the first thing. When you read the job description, understand every single line what they're telling you, because some interns, they do not know what they're getting into. So when they land on their first day or probably first week, oh my God, these people are giving me a hard time. I want to quit. And when you quit, what happens is that it gives a bad repetition for yourself. So understand what the job requires, and before you land to the job, try to speak to someone who potentially was there in that particular industry, just to get some ideas about how things work. Okay, and I give you an example. Yeah, if you're going for a placement or an internship, you are actually given an opportunity to learn and network with people. Take that opportunity, get to know the people that you're working with, get their contact numbers, keep in touch with them. Even after internship, you can seek for their help because they saw how you perform, they saw how you work. And most importantly, something that I think I don't want to forget to mention to all of you: go with an open mind. Don't go with a mind that okay, people say it's very difficult, you know, they're going to give me a lot of work to do. If I don't know how to do, they are going to judge me. You know, don't have that sort of a mindset. Give your best, go in there and be ready to face challenges. Life is all about challenges, and challenges in workplace is not critical as to challenges in life. There's more to life, you will see later on, but take it very easily. And whatever critics and comments that you will receive when you go for your industrial placement, take it as a positive remark. I'll give you an example. I have seen bosses, I have seen mentors giving feedback. Hey, you're very, very overconfident. So when you do a research, right, overconfident can be a good thing, or being overconfident can be a bad thing, right? Correct? Okay. Overconfident in a bad manner, that means this person can be confident, so overconfident they don't know what they're doing. They are like, you know, they will just go 100%, give their maximum effort and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day it may reflect negatively to them. So that's a bad thing. But being overconfident helps the person to also perform at their best capacity. Get what I mean? So you must be able to accept critics and comments, because you will receive critics and comments, because you're going to work with for other people. Like what Luqman mentioned, I really like what he said. You, when you go to work in a workplace, you are adding value to their organization. So people will expect things from you, even though you are an intern. So that would be some of my pieces of advice for that portion. And yeah, I think I'll stop there probably. Pass it back to Izzatun. Oh, sorry. I have one thing before I forget, right? How many of y'all are on LinkedIn? I see Haida smiling because her video is switched on. How many of y'all are on LinkedIn? Yes, no, no, yes. Okay, never mind. Time is running, so I am not going to wait for your response. But I would like to let you all know, LinkedIn is a very, very, very powerful platform. A lot of people are thinking that you can use LinkedIn to find for jobs, to you know, for recruiters to find for you, which is 100% true. I found jobs via LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform where you can learn. There's a lot of free online courses on LinkedIn, and people actually look for future opportunities via LinkedIn, and I have gained a lot of not followers but very useful networking friends who eventually became colleagues, partners. You know, a lot of good things happen on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is not really like Facebook or Instagram. I'm sure you all know that, but I'll give you an example. I have seen students, for example, a mass comm student, mass communication. So this person is so good, his photography skills are so good, right? And he's still studying, but at the same time he wants to support himself. So he used the LinkedIn platform to post the photos that he normally takes for his clients and advertise himself, so that he can get clients or probably potential employees in future. It's something that I was surprised. But people actually use that platform for such thing. I know we commonly use Facebook, right? Facebook and Instagram to do all these kind of things. But LinkedIn has more professional aspects to it. A lot of companies and industries are there on LinkedIn. You may be just a a postgraduate student, or a fourth year student, or a third year student. But when you post things like that, when you do your hashtags, when you tag someone else on LinkedIn, your post will be visible to all the employers. So they'll be thinking, wow, this person is very active in social media. And as I showed in one of my presentations, being active in your digital skills are very important. So these are some of the things that I think you may want to consider. Being on LinkedIn will give you a very, very high visibility to the exposure to the industry. So that is something that I think you should highly consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rethina. So to end our Q&A session, maybe we can have one question to Mr. Luqman from Ashraf. As a recently graduated student from our faculty, what do you think on some stereotypes of our faculty students that needs to be changed to become a more holistic student?
What are the stereotypes? I do not know any stereotypes about faculty students. What is it?
Hi, Luqman. I'm actually asking, based on your 4 years of in our faculty, maybe you've seen some, maybe not stereotypes, but attitudes of our fellow friends, or some negative things or some minus things that we need to become positive or change, to improve students as a holistic student in one.
Okay. In that case, I think, like Dr. Irwan said, you need to be multi-skilled and you need to think about a lot of things at the same time. Like, even now you are studying, you shouldn't be thinking about study and study only. You have to think about any other skills that you can get, and you need to add on your skills. And being your generation, our generation basically, we are blessed with this technology and social media thing, because what we have now is probably one of the best. We are probably living in one of the best generations in human history, because never ever in a human history that we can learn so many things for free, and we can show ourselves to the whole world for free. So, like Dr. Rethina said, use your social media efficiently. Like, yeah, you can scroll, you can spend some time for entertainment, but at the same time, you can use that to learn things such as digital marketing. You can learn networking, because networking is very, very important. And okay, maybe that's one thing that our students are lacking. They don't really network, right? They tend to stay in one circle, and that circle only. Like, I know, okay, if any of my friends are watching this, I'm sorry, but I know a lot of you who don't actually socialize with people in the university. Sometimes you don't even know the people who are in your college, or to the next faculty, or in your clubs. So please don't be shy. You may be shy, so you have to work that out. There is no bravery without how to say, without being, if you are scared and you push it, then that is bravery. Bravery is not the absence of feeling scared. So you have to fight that feeling. Like my way is, I joined this international club. It's called Humans of UPM. It's a club to share media and stories about people. You can check that out on Humans of UPM, Instagram and Facebook. So what they do is they find people to interview. They will interview them, get their stories, and post it up on Facebook and Instagram. And in this club, it is all international students. In fact, there are only 3 Malaysians. I'm one of the 3. So that is how I push myself to be more network. So now I know people from Bangladesh, I know people from Indonesia. So that is how I do it. And as a student, that is your identity. I like how Dr. Irwan put it there. Your identity as a student is to learn everything. try to learn as much as possible. Don't focus on one thing. And yeah, that might be it.
Thank you very much to Mr. Luqman. So, thank you students for the questions as well as speakers for clearing the doubts. For the last session of today, I would like to ask all participants to turn on your camera for the photography session.
Who's going to do the countdown?
Now I see all the pretty and handsome faces.
Pierre, are you there?
So that's all from me as your moderator for today. I'll pass the event to the Master of Ceremony to proceed the closing ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Izzatunisa binti Saharuddin, for the wonderful informative forum session. As the saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending. Our events today have reached the end. Once again, we are expressing a huge amount of gratitude to all our panels for willingly joining us today and our VIPs for lending us your time despite your tight schedule. We appreciate it a lot, and I would like to apologize wholeheartedly for any mistakes made unintentionally throughout the event on behalf of the organizing committee. Thank you to all our great audiences for being with us today. It was a pleasure having all of you today. I would like to remind our audiences that you are required to fill in the Google form provided in the live chat box in order to claim your faculty merit. The Google form will require you to submit a screenshot of your name and matrix number after you have commented them in the live chat box. With that being said, I am Nurul Hidayah binti Muhammad Rusdi. Will end my duty as Master of Ceremony for today's event with Wabillahi Taufiq wal Hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.